She said it like a joke, but the way her eyes lingered told me it wasn't. And I laughed it off, because I had no idea that one careless sentence would unravel everything between us, or that by the end of that week, I'd be standing in front of her door, terrified of losing the one person I never realized I loved. That morning started like any other. I stepped out of my apartment, still half asleep, juggling my coffee and keys, when I saw her leaning against the railing of the corridor, sunlight catching in her hair like it always did. Zara, my neighbor, my almost friend, my something I never defined. She had this habit of smiling like she knew something you didn't, like she was always one step ahead in a conversation you hadn't even started yet. "You had a girl over last night," she said casually, raising an eyebrow as I approached. I blinked, confused. "What?" I heard voices. Laughing. "Music too," she added, pretending to sound unimpressed, but there was a flicker in her expression, something softer, something almost disappointed. I laughed it off, shrugging. "Wish it was you?" The word slipped out without thought, like a reflex. I expected her to roll her eyes, maybe throw back a sarcastic comment. "That's what we always did," joked, teased, danced around something neither of us ever named. But this time, she didn't laugh. Her smile froze for a second, then faded just enough for me to notice. "Yeah," she said quietly. "Wish it was." And then she turned and walked away. That should have been the moment I realized something was wrong. But I didn't. I just stood there, confused, replaying her tone in my head while convincing myself I was overthinking it. The truth was, Zara and I had always existed in this strange in-between. We weren't strangers, we shared late-night chai on the stairs, complained about work, laughed about ridiculous things. But we weren't anything more either. Or at least, that's what I told myself. Later that day, I found out what she meant. There had been someone in my apartment the night before, my cousin had crashed over unexpectedly, and we stayed up talking and playing music. Nothing romantic, nothing worth mentioning. But somehow, the idea that Zara had thought otherwise, and that it bothered her, kept circling in my mind. That evening, I knocked on her door. No answer. I knocked again, softer this time. "Zara?" Still nothing. The next day, she avoided me. No casual smiles, no teasing comments. Just distance. And for the first time since I'd moved into that building, the corridor felt empty. Days passed like that. Silence where there used to be laughter. And it started to get to me. I began noticing all the small things I'd taken for granted, the way she'd leave an extra cup of tea outside my door when she knew I was working late, the way she'd remember random details about my day, the way she made everything feel lighter. Without her, everything felt heavier. By the third day, I couldn't take it anymore. I caught her just as she was unlocking her door. "Can we talk?" She hesitated, then nodded. Inside her apartment, the air felt different, quieter, colder somehow. She stood by the window, arms crossed, avoiding my gaze. "There wasn't anyone," I said quickly. "That night. It was just my cousin. I didn't think it mattered, but I think it did. To you." She looked at me then, and there it was again, that vulnerability she tried so hard to hide. "It's not about that." "Then what is it?" She exhaled slowly. "It's about you saying things like that, like it's a joke." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "When you said, 'Wish it was you,'" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Do you even realize what that sounds like?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Because I didn't know. Because I had never let myself think about it seriously. "It sounds like something I've been wishing you'd mean," she continued, her eyes glistening now. "And every time you say it like a joke, it reminds me that you don't." That hit harder than anything else could have. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The way she looked at me. The way she lingered. The way she never crossed that invisible line, but never walked away either. And the worst part? I realized I hadn't crossed that line either, not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid of what it would change. I didn't know, I said honestly. I know, she replied, a sad smile tugging at her lips. That's the problem. She turned away, and for a moment, I thought that was it. That I'd already lost her without even realizing I was holding onto something worth fighting for. But something in me shifted. Zara, I said, stepping closer. What if I mean it now? She froze. What if I'm not joking anymore? Slowly, she turned back to face me, searching my eyes for something real, something certain. And for the first time, I didn't look away. I think I've been pretending this is nothing because I was scared it might be everything, I admitted. But these past few days without you, they felt wrong. Like something important was missing. Her eyes softened, but she didn't speak. So yeah, I said, my voice steadier now. I wish it was you. Not as a joke. Not as a line. As the truth I should have said a long time ago. Silence filled the space between us, but this time, it wasn't empty. It was full of everything we hadn't said before. Why now? She asked quietly. Because I almost lost you, I replied. And I don't want to find out what life feels like without you in it. For a moment, she just looked at me. And then, finally, she smiled, the real one. The one I hadn't seen in days. You're an idiot, she said softly. I know. But, you're my idiot. And just like that, the distance between us disappeared. That night, we sat on her balcony, sharing tea like we used to, but everything felt different now. Better. Real. Sometimes, it takes losing something, almost losing it, to understand its true value. And sometimes, the words you say as a joke, are actually the truth your heart has been trying to confess all along. Final hook. So if there's someone in your life you keep joking about loving, maybe it's time to stop laughing, and start being honest. Because the right person might be standing right in front of you, just waiting for you to finally mean it.